TrekWars, Duels Across the Stars. Episode 36, A War of 10 Seasons. Top 5 Seasons.
It is a period of war across the galaxies. A brave underground freedom fighter has challenged the tyranny and oppression of the diabolical leader of Empuk Nor, Olympus. Evading the dreaded bad seasons of Star Trek and Star Wars, Jedi Knight Ben Kerno is studying the franchises. His aim? To work out the best tactics to defeat the Galactic Republic's new enemy. To crush the Jedi Order, the evil Go Olympus has decided to create a sinister list of the top 5 seasons in order to utterly defeat the Jedi Ben Kerno. Hello, welcome to our next episode in our whole season of Duels Across the Stars, where we're going to be ranking our top 5 Star Trek and Star Wars seasons. So that usually means that's from TV series or streaming series or whatever we want to decide, which we will tell you in a minute. I'm Ben. My co-host today is
Olympus, it is great to be here. Thank you as always, Ben. I'm looking forward to this. I've got all my notes at the ready. I've got my top 5 picked out. As usual, they've switched around a little bit, but I locked them in a couple of hours ago. And I've actually made a few additional bullet points to what I normally do, just to try and keep me right. But I am going to try and keep myself a little bit more concise because I know I have a habit of rambling a little bit and getting in too much detail. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the conversations that get into it, but yeah, I'm going to try and keep myself a little bit more to time this time. I do just also want to say apologies and thank you to everyone for waiting for our episode a little bit longer than we normally do. I had a bereavement in the family very recently that I was dealing with. Still am, but I needed a little break just to get my head back in the game. So I am back and ready to roll.
yay for being back in the game, and condolences from me. So
Thank you, Ben.
hopefully rest in peace.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Anyway, so we make a few rules to do as our picks to help clarify this, to help clarify the list and help us with our picks. Don't think it's too complicated this year, but or this time. What
No,
do you reckon, Olympus?
no, I'm going to keep mine very, very simple and easy. A season is a television season, as in season 1, season 2, season 3,
Yeah,
season 4. I have literally defined it like that.
no, which is fair enough, and I don't have anything to really add to that.
That was the easiest
Yeah,
set of rules we've ever set for ourselves, isn't it?
it is. It is definitely. Um, so Olympus, what is your? We're going to do this in reverse order. If you want to put your list in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube or on our Twitter or Bluesky accounts, please do so. Olympus, what's your number 5 pick?
So I'm taking us to Star Trek Enterprise, season 1.
Ooh. Oh,
Yeah, you weren't expecting season
okay.
1, were you?
No, I was not.
See, it's been a long time getting from there to here. Sorry, that was bad, but
No, that's
I
not.
actually don't care. Um, yeah, season 1 for me was phenomenal. It set up the show brilliantly. It set up the main characters in a beautiful way. I felt they all gelled really well together. But there's two particular things I'll talk about with Star Trek Enterprise season 1. Actually, we'll go with 3. The first
Okay, then.
is most of the episodes are decent. Right? There aren't many per episode in season 1. There's maybe a couple, but not many. Most of them are decent, with a couple really good ones. They're really good gems. The second thing is that season 1 really successfully sets up the timeline and the politics of the era, specifically the politics between Earth, Vulcan, and Andor. And I really, really love how they portray the Vulcans the way that they do. They really show the not animosity, although there is some animosity between certain characters at the start, but the friction that has been developing over time and why that friction has been building up between humanity and the Vulcans. And I think they deliver that very well, and they actually add fuel to the fire on that with the Andorians, and it all becomes a bit of a complicated powder keg, and I love that, especially with Mr. Coombs who jumps in as oh no, Thran, that's right,
It's
isn't it?
Stran.
Shran.
Stran.
Why am I saying Thran? Shran.
Yeah.
Take me away to the gallows now. That was terrible. Yes, Shran, who is my
Disgraceful.
favorite Andorian of all time, by the way. So the second thing I would say as well is it keeps humanity very relatable. If we look at humans in the Kirk era or the Picard era, they are very settled in their ways by this point. Exploration on starships across the galaxy is the norm. That's not the case in Enterprise. It's very, very new to them. I mean, this is the first Warp 5 ship. Before this, they couldn't really get very far outside their own solar system before it's taking a little bit too long to get back home. So you've got that side of it as well. But an example on the relatability would be like there's early into the season you have Sato coming to Archer and asking to switch rooms because the stars are going in the wrong direction, which is just such an ordinary day-to-day thing, isn't it? It's like people who are on trains who don't like sitting like facing backwards on trains. It's kind of like that. There's a little bit of jealousy that happens throughout the season between different characters. There's a little bit of uncertainty. Again, with Sato, you've got her whole issue with her confidence. Again, a very relatable thing. There's just a lot of present day elements that I feel are very relatable in Star Trek Enterprise. And especially in that first season before they really settle into what they're actually doing. And of course, you have also got the Vulcan human tension with the Pole being on board too. So I'm already exceeding the time I tried to give myself, but there you go. I told you that would happen. My top 5 pick is Star Trek Enterprise Season 1.
I definitely think it is a solid start to the franchise, the show. And I want to highlight 2 episodes. One is not Shadows of P'Jem, one at P'Jem, which we meet the Andorians and Ashran for the first time. Great episode. And I like going there at the beginning of Star Trek Online, and I
Oh,
get
yeah.
really excited every time. And the opening episode is not Carbon Creek. I forgot what it is, but the location they go to is, for me, up until from up until New Trek, definitely is the best opening in my eyes. The best opening episode of any Star Trek, even the emissary for DS9. So I love that. Love that at all. And anyway, talking about New Trek, I'm going to go to my season 5, my pick 5, and this will be season 1 as well of Strange New World. So,
Oh.
ooh, the, this had the potential to I'm going to say go wrong. To be honest, they had a bit of a uh, practice run in the Discovery season 2,
Yep.
where got to do it, which is probably why this ended up happening, because Captain Pike and everything was so good, and you also had a couple of short treks related to the characters, um, but it still had the potential to go wrong, and I was getting ready for it to go. There's going to be mistakes. Not It's going to take a while to get into it, and when Larn was involved and she was having the issues with going and going, these saying these are gone. I thought, oh, this is going to relate to Old Trek, where she's being over paranoid, over scared, and everything's going to be fine. But no, she earned her trust. Her feelings came out Her punches were there for a reason, and those came. She earned her trust, and she earned not. She knew when to talk and not to talk. That's what I mean. And then the characters we saw before, Spock, Pike, and even Una Chin Riley, were great and managed to keep it solid. And all the characters managed to do a very, very good job at keeping me going. Yeah, every single one of them. And I love that they've at the moment for season 1 and season 2, they've also done a fun episode. Whether that's the Elysian Kingdom or Subspace Rhapsody. Absolutely love that they spent some time doing that. And it's also given me memories of episodic seasons where you can put some of the episodes into just one-off shows
Yep.
and just turn on and watch it anytime you like. Anyway, any thoughts, Olympus?
Well, seeing as this is my number 4 pick, and it says it's Strange New Worlds season 1, which is just shows you how aligned we are, Ben. We're on the same wavelength.
Wow.
Yes, couldn't have done that if we tried. It flows nicely, and we promise you guys we do not talk about our picks ahead of jumping into these recording sessions. So this is live and on the fly. So I'll agree with everything you've said, and I'll add to it a little bit. So you've already mentioned the episodic format, which I really like. They hit the nail on the head with that in season 1, and they got a really good character mix, and those characters and obviously the actors gel really well together throughout season 1, which I feel they lose a little bit when you get into season 2, but that's for another story. The character development through season 1, I think, works very well as well, and you know, where it's episodic, you still get to see those character progressions, especially, you know, there's points with Mbenga, and his story arc with his daughter as an example, which kind of leads me into my two favorite episodes from season 1, which will be the Elysian Kingdom, as you just mentioned there, a very fun episode. And yeah, for multiple reasons, I'm not going to go into it, guys. Go watch it; it's really good. And also, All Those Who Wonder, which was this almost alien-esque type thriller episode. The only thing I don't like about it is what happens to our beloved chief engineer at the end, because I didn't want him to go. But hey ho.
Oh yeah, it was very sad, and he was a great character. Okay, sometimes characters do have to go, but yeah.
Yes, indeed. So no, as I say, I agree with you so much. It's my number 4. So there you go. And on that note, Ben, what's your number 3?
My number 3. So I'm changing franchises, thinking about Strange.
Yep.
Changing. I'm going to go to Andor, and I'm going to go to the only season that's out so far of as of recording, season 1. So and this week we know what season 2 is planned, and I don't know how far underway it is currently, but it is. Um, yeah, to be honest, I think it's the whole with this one. It's the whole vibe, the whole world that it's showing about everybody, and or not everybody, but Star Wars world, the politics behind it. Um, it's not. Sometimes it's not even the main characters. Or the main character. This is somebody like Mon Mothma, who is a very much a side character. I'm not going to go and say in a one sentence person, but she not far of as a brief character. I know she's had cartoon appearances and such like, but this actually brought the character into what made me almost fall in love with the character. I love the character and her politicking. Um, I love that they are showing the judicial system. I love seeing all the towns and where everybody lives. I just absolutely love it, and how the other other rebels they've gone.
Yeah, I'm going to interrupt you, sorry, because I noticed I said your number 3 pick, but this is actually technically your number 4 pick. So I'm just wanting to make sure that you're not
Uh,
talking about your number 3, and you are talking about your number 4.
yeah, it is my number 4 pick,
Woo!
actually, yes. And I didn't notice.
My error. Sorry,
But no, okay,
guys. Sorry for interrupting. Please continue.
that's all right. And I could easily have gone on the thing and I would end up altering that slightly on my thing go by mistake. So, um, yeah, anyway, no, that's, to be honest, that is about it, really. Seeing all those characters, seeing the politics, not just the top level politics, was the Emperor and Darth Vader, but seeing all the other slightly lower level political attitudes there was. I know that sounds weird, but I actually like that kind of thing in shows.
It's something which they, if they're not careful, they can get very wrong. And when I say that, I mean that they can make something feel too slow, too boring to a lot of people. That did not happen with Andor at all. They really hit the nail on the head with Andor. I was glad with how they delivered it. I found it very interesting. I loved the politicking through it, and I loved the development of the Mon Mothma character as well. I thought she was brilliant. I was so glad that we got to see more of her, and subsequently, probably because of that, we saw more of her in Ahsoka too. So, fingers crossed for more Mon Mothma.
Definitely agree on that. So I am curious where you got Ahsoka on season 1 on this, but we'll find out soon. Anyway, as you mentioned, season 3, pick 3. Shall we have a go at pick 3s?
Yeah, this is where I need to keep my notes right because I have actually done a switcheroo just before we jumped onto the Discord to start talking. So I've literally got a curved arrow switching these two, so I need to remember to get this right. So my number 3 pick, even though it says number 2 on this book, my number 3 pick is Skeleton Crew Season 1. Have you watched
Ooh,
Skeleton Crew yet, Ben?
no, but I am prepared to be spoiled for this.
Okay, I am not going to go into any details because I do not want to spoil it because it is phenomenal. It's a Star Wars show that I've been waiting for a long time in terms of something that they're being brave, creating something new, developing new lore that we can start going into and exploring properly. Okay, so yeah, I'd say the 3 key things I'll pick out for Skeleton Crew season 1: great acting, both from the kids that are the leads in the show because they are brilliant. It's like Goonies in space. It's phenomenal. And also Jude Law, who really makes this show what it is. Now, the kids are phenomenal, as I said, but without Jude Law, it would have fallen a little bit flat. He really added a spark to it that no one else, I think, could have. The story across the entire season is really good. They round it off nicely as well. It does feel a little bit rushed at points, but good story. And the last thing, which I mentioned at the start, is that they create so much new lore to explore outside, whether it's in a season 2 or whether it's in a different show that sort of bounces off of Skeleton Crew. You've got new planets, you've got new concepts, you've got a new element to an existing story that we didn't know before as well. New characters that could get delved into and developed further. There's so many places to take it, and it's all brand new, which is something that they've not done in Star Wars in a while. So it was brave and it paid off, which is why Skeleton Crew's in my top 5. But it
cool.
is sitting at the minute at number 3.
Oh, cool. And I'll go definitely. I'll be meaning to watch it since it came. I just think it was coming out, but I've got a week off coming off as of tomorrow, or it'll be a week and a couple of days. So I
Good.
think I'm gonna find some time to get that in.
You should, mate.
Uh,
You should, mate.
yeah,
We're really
and
good.
I know I've been saying that for the last, what's it been out, month and a half, or
Oh, it's
2
been
months?
coming out in episodes, hasn't it? So it's probably
Yeah,
been out in its fullest a few weeks.
yeah. But anyway, Thinking about that, I'm going to keep to the same franchise, and I'm going to go to Ahsoka season one. Again, I'm saying season one
Ooh.
here as if it's not the only one currently out. But this was I knew of the characters, but I'd probably seen them a little bit, but I wasn't completely kosher, fully kosher about all their backstory from the previous shows on this. And this show actually managed to work on what I didn't know, and I felt like I could get into it even with my limited knowledge of all the characters. And the ships are brilliant. Ahsoka is brilliant. Oh, all the yeah, all the characters worked. Seem to have their own lines. Whether that's going to the shipyard and finding out the Imperials, even the side one that was not involved in any of the crew, unlike let's say the Book of Boba Fett, where that at least one of those uh, episodes felt really out of place for the show. Um, that one did not, and uh, getting to see Thrawn, getting to see some of the ancient ruins, and actually that start with Ahsoka, it's like spinning around with her two lightsabers to get that hold in the ground to go down there, um, and
Creative, isn't it?
uh, it is very creative. I like it, and having a Time Lord, oh sorry, droid, that was quite fun. Consider keeping up there was the best of the droids. Was so much fun. I liked Wu Yang and as well. Not as much as you or even the person who was in our top five droid episodes. Um,
Oh, Hu Yang is a
our
firm
one,
favorite of both of ours, I
yeah,
must admit.
yeah.
Um,
So
and it just helps. David Tennant voiced him in the Clone Wars, and obviously he's come back to voice him in live action as well, which is even better.
yeah, yeah, it definitely is. And actually having a cute animal appear and actually seeming to make sense in the story as well was great
Now,
fun as
which
well. So,
cute animal are we talking about? Because there's a couple of cute animals. One's obvious, which is the loth cat at the start.
it's the love cat. Yeah,
See, there's
I
another
know that.
cute animal which might not be so obvious, especially for someone who has not yet watched Clone Wars.
You're on about me.
Maybe. Have you watched Clone Wars yet?
Only a few episodes. So
Anyway, I will get onto that point in a second regarding the other cute animal. No, I won't. I'll tell you now. It's a little owl that you see at the very end of Ahsoka
oh
season one.
yes.
So you'll have seen her looking out, and there's a little owl sitting on a perch before it flies off. That is extremely symbolic and very, very pivotal to her character.
Fair enough.
But you only know it if you've watched Clone Wars.
Oh well. So it wasn't anything to do with night owls by any chance, was
No.
it? No. I had a feeling it wasn't, but that's fine. Anyway, yeah, no, I really enjoyed that, and after having watched Andor, it was a nice palate cleanser for a bit more casual, a bit more laid back, not quite as serious of a season. So that probably did help with my opinion on Ahsoka as
Good.
well.
Good.
So, um, do you have any opinions on that, or are we saving that for later?
No, no, no. So I'll talk about it now. Ahsoka season one was on my top five list.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Was it was moved again just before we joined the Discord. Um, it was replaced with a predecessor to the Ahsoka series. Because as if anyone who's watched any of the Duels episodes previously know, I love the Ahsoka television show. I think it's one of the best Star Wars shows out there at the minute because I've got so much love for the characters, whether that's Ahsoka herself or whether it's the other characters that you've seen from Rebels. But it's not Rebels I'm talking about either in my number 3. It's a predecessor to
Oh,
that too. I'm talking about the Clone Wars, specifically the Clone Wars season 7. So by this point, Ahsoka's character is
it's well established.
very well established, and she's developed from an immature little Padawan who's just started her training into a formidable Jedi, should be knight. And in season 6, something happens I won't go into because you are going to watch this eventually.
I
And
am aware,
and
definitely aware of what is happened,
yeah,
what did happen.
and she leaves the Jedi Order. Um, so the Clone Wars season 7. One of the reasons I love this is because of how it's structured. It's basically split into 3 stories, right? You've got the first 4 episodes, which introduce the Bad Batch that we end up having a their own television series for, which is equally phenomenal as well. So you need to also go and watch that, Ben.
I've
There's
got to have
so
a
much
busy week here
Star
next
Wars.
week.
There's so much Star Wars you've not watched yet, Ben. Yes, you've got a very busy week next week. So, yeah, the first 4 episodes introduce the Bad Batch, and Echo, who we know from earlier in the Clone Wars, ends up joining them. But yeah, that's how the Bad Batch is introduced, and basically those 4 episodes are kind of their pilot for leading into the television series. The next 4 episodes returns us to Ahsoka, who we've not seen for a little while now, since partway through season 6. We see where she is, what she's been up to in the last X number of, I don't know, cycles, let's call it. And it takes us on her journey out of that situation and on a collision course back with the Jedi, which takes us to the last 4 episodes of the final season of the Clone Wars, which is the build up to and the launch of Order 66 and the aftermath, I guess, of Order 66, from Ahsoka's point of view as well. So this rounds off Ahsoka's Clone Wars story, basically, with a little bit of Rex added in, Captain Rex, which is awesome. But what it really tells you as well is the last 7 seasons have really all been about Ahsoka. It's not. It's covered and looked at a lot of different characters in a lot of different ways and added a lot to it. But the Clone Wars story is about Ahsoka Tano. And the last 2 episodes in particular of that season 7 of the Clone Wars, they're the best 2 episodes of the Clone Wars you'll ever watch. But you need to watch everything before it first to truly appreciate it. So that is my I won't
After
say
watching in
any
its
more on it.
original Klingon.
Yes, definitely needs to be in the original Klingon, otherwise it's not worth experiencing.
Fair enough.
So that's my number 2, which is
Hey.
the Clone Wars.
Oh, I'm glad you got a Clone Wars, at least one Clone Wars season in there. So, tell you what, for my number 2 pick, I'm going to give you a couple of titles for it. We've got Succession, Muse, Discretion, Rejoined, Paradise Lost, Little Green Men.
It's Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
And it is, yeah. So, I'm going to season 4 of Deep Space Nine. For this is bookended with the entrance of Worf to Deep Space Nine.
Yep.
It's the Way of the Warrior. Then you have Broken Link at the other end, where you have Odo, who's just been judged, has recently been judged by the Great Link. Going, oh, that person there is a changeling, aka Aaron. Which, spoiler alert, there is more to that than you think.
Oh yeah.
It's got, yeah, Deep Space Nine was well in the run now. It's got rid of its couple of bad episodes, or slightly not uh, great episodes. You've got our man Bashir, our great holodeck episode. You got Little Green Men, great time travel episode, with Frankie's going back to Earth, aka the Roswell aliens. Um, you got Rejoined, which I think I had Dax and Khan as one of my top 5 favorite couples. Um, and so much more after that. You have a story arc with the almost the setup of the adding to the setup of the Dominion War. Um, you got the Klingon problem. There's always a Klingon problem, but
Always.
this always, but this one being very very overt, and you get to see both sons of Moog in this one. Um, just yeah, for me, this is near. You have the story going through the whole arc, but this is more. But lots of great episodes telling, single episodes telling the uh, story here, and you get some of my favourite I haven't really mentioned, but I think they're coming up on their anniversary soon, if not just past. Is Homefront and Paradise Lost, which actually I think was beginning of the month. Which you have basically a couple of the characters going back to Earth with the threat of Dominion and changelings on the planet, and basically start not quite militarized, but you can see the start of militarization with people with guns on every corner, um, and doing blood checks on everybody, or not everybody, but everybody is important's family and such like. Basically, it was something to scare the living daylights out. Even though there is a big risk of trouble, it was a case of uh, the show must go on, where you can go overboard even in a time of terror.
Hmm.
So, um, great story there. But yeah, so it had those ones with a serious story, and you had the great ones of aliens on Earth in the. I think it was the late part of the 40s, just after the Second World War, rather than the beginning part of the 50s. But anyway, any thoughts, Olympus?
No, I'm not surprised that you had the DS9 one in there. I know it's your favorite show, and it's a good season. I've got to give it to you. It is so well picked for multiple reasons that you've gone through. Which means I'll do similar thing to what you did actually. I'll list out some titles and see if you can guess which show or potentially which season of that show I'm talking about. Descent, Gambit, Phantasms, Attached, Inheritance. You'll get this one now. The
Which is,
Pegasus.
I know it's TNC because Gambit, I think, is the one where Jean-Luc Picard is kidnapped by group. Well, he's on an archaeological dig, and
That's
then
right.
Micah comes along for a thing. But which season? The Pegasus is reasonably early. Um,
Is it?
I think. Oh, I'm pretty
Is the
sure it was
Pegasus early? So I'll tell you. I'll give you a couple more.
season three or
Lower
four.
lower decks.
Oh, sugar! That one's very late. Damn
Preemptive
it! Is it season?
strike.
Is this season 7?
It is. You got it just before the last one I was going to read out, which is all good things.
Vince, yeah.
Yeah, the
Damn it!
Pegasus. I
It,
couldn't believe the
it's
Pegasus was as late as it was either. I didn't think it was season
no.
7.
I thought that was an early episode.
I thought it was middle. I thought it was sort of middle to end
Yeah.
of season 4. I thought it was. I
Yeah.
didn't think it was as late as season 7, but there you go.
Wow.
Um, I mean, season 7 for me is its strongest. It's what do you call it? It's TNG. So I've just noticed I've got like 2 spots that are really sore on my arm. I've just noticed, and that's ow. It's like I've been bitten by a vampire. Look at that. So just
It is. Yeah. Maybe you got a secret snake hiding away. Yeah.
Oh, I hope not. So basically, if I suddenly go, oh, you know what's happened.
It's like 999. Somebody in Scotland's just collapsed. So,
Yeah. I can't tell you where they are, but we're currently recording something. We can just switch it to a stream, and you can maybe find the IP address.
yeah.
um, yeah, season 7 of the Next Generation. It's probably got some of the best stories episodically in TNG. They're all, or most of them, I should say, are very strong stories. All Good Things is probably the best two-parter episode out of every two-parter in TNG. So it's set up and really strong there. It helps round off the show in a beautiful way whilst keeping it open to continue into the movies. And it just tells brilliant Star Trek stories with a brilliant cast and crew that does everyone justice. Um, and yeah, you kind of feel like it's starting to come to an end with a few of the last episodes leading up to All Good Things, especially Preemptive Strike. If I remember correctly, that's the one where Laren goes on that undercover mission type thing and ends up betraying Picard, the bitch.
Yeah, heartbreaking that, heartbreaking. But yeah, I understand out of show and in show. Yeah, why?
Yeah, but yes, and again, I expect you're not surprised, Ben. In the same vein as you loving DS9 so much, I love
I
TNG
knew
so
that.
much, so it's gonna come
I
up.
did put in little writing in number one the TNG, but it was gonna be the season. I
Ooh.
wasn't sure.
So did did, did
Wasn't
did
sure.
did you not know which seasons I might have gone for?
I was gonna say I wasn't gonna go for the first two. Um, Definitely not the first one.
Yeah,
Um, so it was gonna be one of the later ones. Probably. Yeah, let's go with the stereotypical one of four onwards. But
yeah. So it would
probably five,
it
6, or 7.
yeah, it would
Yeah.
have been obviously I've gone for 7. Without analyzing the other seasons too much, the next one would have probably been 4. I mean, the
Fair
best of
enough.
both worlds really trumps. I know best of both worlds
But
kind of
that's the two
hopped.
seasons, isn't it?
It hopped over
Yeah.
the two, but then you have you had family though in season 4 directly after
Yes,
best of both worlds,
we
which
did.
really helped with Picard's development. But I digress. I'm meant to be talking about season 7. That's me anyway. My number one pick, The Next Generation, season 7.
We have not got any shows yet that have bookended uh, each a show or two episodes, two seasons from one show yet, have we? So,
How do you mean?
no, we haven't got two seasons from a same show. So we haven't got
No, we
TNG
don't.
season 7 and season 1, for example.
No, we don't. You're right.
No, until now.
Haha.
So yeah, so I've gone for to be honest, there's not much of a thing because we've got a lot of season ones here, but I've gone for season 4 of Enterprise. So
Really?
really,
Oh,
yes,
okay. Okay.
this is my not so secret love. It's season 4 of Enterprise. This is I will have this whole great build up for this. This is a season that is got brought up on every single, I think, 29 seasons before it, and I think 10 films at the time worth of lore to add on to this. It comes up with a ending that's brought them back in time for the beginning of the season. Uh, and they got temporal wars back on Earth in New York during the Second World War, which has gone over to the United States. We have the talk about the previous season, the Zindi War. Okay, that's probably my least favorite episodes, but it's still a solid story. And then you go into the Augment arc, which sometime after I'm going to be missing here, which you get to see Brett Spiner again and stories about relating to Khan. You have the Andorian trilogy, and not Andorian trilogy. You do have an Andorian trilogy,
At
which
the
is
end.
going on for at the end was the Romulan stuff. But you have the Vulcan trilogy, which is what I was thinking about,
Yes.
which brings on the lore of there and the Kishara, and also the mind melds and the Katras, which actually I saw this before I saw the film involving the Katra. So for me,
You
this
saw
is where I
that.
found.
So you saw that before you saw Star Trek 3.
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's actually brilliant though, because that'll really open your eyes. Because you listen, yeah, I was literally, you won't believe, I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. I was watching Star Trek 3 last night, right? And
Wow.
I'm watching the scene where Sarek's talking to Kirk, and he's like, "How could you leave him? How could you leave him on that planet? You've left his Katra there. Like he must have passed it on to you. What are you doing? So you've left his body there. You've got his Katra. What are you doing?" And obviously, he doesn't have his Katra. And I was thinking, with all the Star Trek that had come before this movie, no one has a feckin' clue what a Katra is. This is like brand new information.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
you watching that Enterprise season first and them actually going in and explaining it before seeing Star Trek 3 must have really brought Star Trek 3 to life for you.
It yeah definitely did. Yeah, it was. It probably definitely helped. And um, I didn't see that in the thing. I was old enough to probably be able to see it in the cinema, so
Uh-huh.
uh, at the time, but I didn't. Yeah, it did definitely did bring it to life, and it added to the story. So for me, that's uh, way forward. You had the episodes about Luna on the lunar colony, where you saw Elizabeth, and the discussion about uh, human Vulcan relationships, not relationships, children, um, which was great. And there was one episode that is very controversial related to season 7 and an episode you mentioned. It shouldn't be a finale to
It
uh,
shouldn't be.
a whole series, but it, I like the idea. I like the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm.
and you
That
also anyway. Still going.
I'm. I don't want to because I'm going to be negative, and I don't like being negative on this. It's like I'll keep this short, right? Because I enjoyed every episode of Enterprise season 4 apart from the last one. It's like how they ended Lost. You know that TV show Lost.
Yeah.
I loved every single episode until the last 15 minutes of the last one. And I was like, you didn't. But I felt kind of like that about this entire episode. I loved the premise, but it didn't work. It was basically a Star Trek: The Next Generation episode. It actually should have been a filler episode in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Right, that's how it was
Yeah.
made. Um, and they killed Trip Tucker, which just wasn't necessary in the slightest. There was no need to kill him. Like it's not
Uh,
like before they filmed it, they knew that season 5 wasn't happening. So, like, what is the purpose of killing him? It's like, oh, we're
uh,
ending the series, and we know you're really sad, so we're just gonna kill one of your favorite characters at the same time for a double whammy. So,
they had a little bit of what was it? Mystery in the episode, but yeah, it was a
honestly,
bad part.
as I said, I love Enterprise, and I love every season of Enterprise. I love most of the episodes of Enterprise. I hate that episode.
But on a cheerful note, um, I there's one set of episodes episode I missed, and that was the one with the transporter, so which was a little bit of a ghost hunt as well. Person who got lost in the transporter. So um, anyway, but there was some really good stories like the Vulcan trilogy. I
Yep.
absolutely some of my favorite, and the reason this is my number one is because I can go back to most of those episodes and seasons or arcs, little mini arcs, and watch them now. And I will happily watch it. There's some of my ones
Yep.
that will always come to my head and I will enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
There is one little group of um, there is one storyline in there I was not a big fan of, but which was
Was it?
Trip going to another ship,
Yeah, I was about to say
and
that.
having and I'm not going to say making the new chief engineer incompetent, but constantly down having a go at the new chief engineer, which okay, was irritating me. But other than that, this was a solid thing, and I think it's because it's episodic as well. That makes it more fun for me. That, as I said, I could go back to it and
Well,
enjoy.
I'll agree with you there
And
because they tried something different with the Zindi season 3. Keep me honest.
yes,
Um, and kudos for them. They were brave. They tried something different for an entire season, and as you said, it was a solid storyline, but it didn't really hit the mark.
yeah,
Um, so I was really
I
glad to
know
see
some.
them return to something more episodic. But season 4 was episodic with a twist
Yeah,
because it was split almost similarly to the Clone Wars season 7. It was like 3 or 4 episodes on a mini story, then 3 or 4 episodes on a mini story, then 3 or 4 episodes on a mini story. So it was almost like episodic mini series, wasn't it? Really?
yeah, yeah, and as I said early on, this was built on the past, everything that had come before it.
Yeah,
There had, for me, this was the his. If that we hadn't had this much Trek in the thing, I probably would not enjoy this quite as much as I do now. Do now.
yeah. But that's
So
that's a great thing about Trek, though. We've got so much of it to enjoy now, and it all enhances the rest of it.
yeah. So this is almost for me the cherry on the cake
Mm.
of Star Trek. So I have not actually topped up the scores for the last
Mm.
mock, but
That's one,
I
two,
think I have now.
3, 4, 5. That's yes. I've totted them up. 6-4.
Yes, it is 6-4 to Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, you're funny.
Yeah. So another close one, a
That
lot
was.
closer than the episodes one we had.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it was.
um,
Star Wars is
but
sort of slinking behind a little bit again now. I've noticed with the last
yeah,
couple of episodes we've done.
it is. So we haven't decided on the next episode yet, but that will be coming in uh roughly 2 weeks. So that'll be on a Friday. Um, in yeah, in beginning of February. So keep your eyes out for that. If anybody has any suggestions for topics, please put them in chat or send them to us or something, and we'll be happy to consider it and hopefully do it as well. So um,
Lovely, lovely plug. I like that, Ben. The other thing I was going to say is just thank everyone for watching, taking part. Please feel free to comment your ideas, your thoughts, your own picks in the relevant comment sections wherever you are engaging with this. It is all very much appreciated, as are the likes and subscribes. Ben and I love doing this together and we love sharing this with all of you. So please share in return as well. Get involved in the conversation.
I suppose it'd be lovely to hear from you. And if so, I wish I could remember the name of the person, but somebody said on a nice comment about the background, our layout. So
Oh,
thank you
thank
to them.
you.
So yeah, thank you. And the person who did it is that way.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. You helped. You helped. Your inspiration is there. I'm gonna go into like a 1 minute explanation of how we built it now. Sorry. No, no. We got together, put our heads together on how we can maybe change things up and do things a little bit differently. And what we found that we were able to adapt and edit and tweak with was very, albeit it's very Trekky instead of Star Wars, but I've got a couple little Star Wars themes still going through that overlay. And yeah, I thought it was working quite well. So I'm thrilled to hear some positive feedback on that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is appreciated, and we do do read your comments. At least I do, anyway. Yeah. So
I blame the close bereavement in the family. I'm just going to use that for the next couple of weeks as an excuse, shamefully or
no,
unshamefully, whatever the word is.
no, that's perfectly understandable. But I, yeah. Anyway, before I dig myself into a hole, anyway, thank you for watching. It's been a lovely audience. You can see where what we do in the doobly do down the bottom, and see you next time.
See you next time, guys. May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.